It's a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to meet again. Subscribe to the channel. The channel is We Africa. Let us watch together. When I first come across a story that says that King Mswati sometimes abducts women to become his wives, it didn't make any sense to me. It defied logic, because we know that every year there is a ceremony that is held at his palace so that he can pick a wife from thousands and thousands of virgins. So when I heard this story that he abducts wives, it really defied. It went against what I thought was common sense to me. Then I came across this story of a mother who went to pick up her daughter at school one day, like she always did, and she did the same thing on that particular day. But her daughter was nowhere to be found. Unfortunately or fortunately, her daughter had been frog-marched from school against her will by two of the king's aides. The king intended to make this lady his 10th wife. This actually took place, and the mother of the abducted girl, called Lindiwe Dlamini, did not expect her daughter Zena to disappear that afternoon. This occurred in the tiny kingdom of Eswatini, where the king has absolute power and can do whatever he wants with whoever he wants, whenever he wants. Zena, who had just turned 18, is Lindiwe's only daughter. She has two boys and is a single mother. This is just a cry of a mother who is losing a daughter. That is all that is about. And all I want is my daughter back, she protested. She took her daughter to school in the morning, where she was to prepare for her exams that fateful day, and had promised she was going to come and pick her up. When she came back and waited, Zena did not show up. Zena was a no-show, and her mother panicked. She went home and through investigations discovered that her daughter had been picked up by two men and was taken to the king. Two men had forcibly taken her, and people had noticed that she was struggling to free herself before they forced her into a waiting car. It is clear that she was resisting, and that was the last time they saw her, and at the back of a car sandwiched by two men before the car sped off. In Swaziland, one of Africa's oldest monarchs, the king's power is absolute. The kingdom is tucked within the borders of South Africa and shares a border on the north with Mozambique. The king rules according to unwritten customs and tradition. He can have as many wives as he wants, and he decided he wanted Lindiwe's daughter as his 10th wife. When Zena went to the reed dance, she had no idea it was going to lead to marriage, and had even been accompanied by a boyfriend for the journey. But the king developed an attraction towards her and started calling her, but Zena was not interested, and all this was too much for her, and she even became very, very much stressed and was depressed. When the king ordered that she had to be brought to the palace, Lindiwe hatched a plan and ran away with her daughter across the border. They later learned from a member of the royal family that Swazi tradition does not allow the king to marry a girl who is a twin, and Zena is a twin brother. So they came back, but it turned out this was not true. When Zena was abducted, the mother reported the issue to the police and demanded that her daughter be returned back. She was the first one to take the royal palace to the court. It had never been done before, because the king is a law unto himself and cannot be sued. She didn't sue the king, however, rather she sued the two men who had abducted her. Lindiwe's case has just shown the inequality that exists in the Swazi society. Women are regarded as second-class citizens who cannot own land or apply for a passport without the consent of either their husbands or their fathers. Forced marriages are not uncommon, where women have no right to decide who they want their partner to be. In this case, she has no chance against the well-oiled machine of the king's royal palace. I don't really think there is anything they can do to me, because they have wronged me. It's not like I have stood up to criticize the king for his ruling, anything like that. It's about me and my family, she complained. That is, Lindiwe was saying this. International rights groups have strongly criticized forced marriages as acts of violence against women, but Lindiwe's plight is highlighting the inequality of Swazi women under the law. Women can't own land or even apply for a passport without a husband or a father's permission. Forced marriages are common or illegal in Swaziland traditional culture, but urban educated Swazis find the practice outdated. International rights groups have criticized forced marriages as an act of violence against women, and they've stood firmly behind Zena. The king is an absolute monarchy, the mouth that never lies. It is unimaginable that anyone could criticize the king. A case against the king is a case she was never going to win. I don't blame her because she did it for reasons best known to her and best known to any other woman or any other mother who would want to do the same thing, explained Lambikiza, the king's first wife. For Lindiwe, this has very little to do with marriage. This is about how a little girl who is a minor was forcibly taken to marry a man she might not even like. This has more to do with the violation of a woman's young girl's rights, for the king's polygamy is a royal birthright, and this is nothing wrong in all this. The palace has blocked Lindiwe's lawsuit at every turn. Lawyers sent by the court were prevented from talking to Zena. The Attorney General, who is appointed by the king, ordered the judges to drop the case, but the judges refused. Zena won't become his wife until she is pregnant. After Zena appeared in public as the king's official fiancé, her mother gave up the fight and asked the court to postpone the case indefinitely. The king had won again. Forcibly, the king had won. And we are told that 2 weeks from that moment when he appeared in public with Zena, he decided to take his 11th wife, just as a show of stubbornness and as a show of defiance, as a show of his ability to do whatever he wants. He took another wife. He took his 11th wife. That is Mswati for you there. His arrogance, his pride, knowing that people can never do anything to him. Against this controversy, he took only 2 weeks from the controversy, he took his 11th wife. This is not the only instance when Mswati abducted a wife. I'm told that is the issues about Mswati's wives are very secretive. They are treated quite confidentially. There's very little that we know about his wives and what goes on with his harem there in the royal palace. So there are many women who are abducted, and the stories about them are not very clear, are not in the open. A lot happens and is swept under the carpet. So we are lucky to have this story about Lindiwe's daughter, that is Zena, and it exposes and it shows us the other side of the king's marriage, that they were not really as free as we are made to see. Like, people gather around and then you freely choose, and the wife, the virgin, will freely accept to be the king's wife. In this case, Zena was not even willing to become his wife, to the point that they even had to run away from Swaziland into another country just to run away from the king's officials. So you see that a king is quite a king who is always taking things by force. He takes land by force, he can take wives by force, he can do whatever he wants by force. So you see the ugly side of Mswati, how ugly and how dangerous and how absolute this guy is, and how he enjoys being an absolute ruler. He is quite a decadent ruler who is even taking all the luxuries, all the decadence, all the permissiveness that the system gives him. He takes everything without even considering the other person's rights. So you have to see Mswati for who he is. He is a very, very, very bad man. I think he's a very bad man. If the system allows you to do certain things, I think because you've got a conscience, you have to limit yourself not to follow the system permissiveness up to the end. That is very wrong as a human being. You have to feel for the other person. You have to feel for the people that you deal with from day in to day out. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. This is We Africa. Please, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe and share with your friends. Thank you so much.